What is up, everybody? Ethan Newberry, the Ginger Runner, here for another Ginger Runner Live. That's right. I'm joined by, oh, look at this. It's beautiful Kimberly Tashima, Maya Longlegs, right here by
Hello.
my side. Big show tonight. I'm a little under the weather. I'll talk about that tonight in the show, so my energy level is going to be 110% as opposed to 120%. I'm going to talk all about the 2014 New York City Marathon. My experience, Kim's experience as a spectator in one of the biggest big city marathons. And of course, we're joined by a very special guest. He had an incredible race. I don't want to spoil anything. I'm going to have him talk about it today. But Mr. Alex Varner, what's up, buddy? How are you?
Good, thanks. How are you guys?
Good, man.
Good.
Good, good, good. So I can't wait to talk to you about it. We spent all weekend talking about it, but
Yes.
for you to share your experience with those who are watching live because it's pretty incredible. That's pretty much it. We're really excited about tonight's episode. Welcome everybody to Ginger Runner Live. Ginger Runner. Yay! Yay! I just screamed in your ear. I'm sorry.
Alex
Welcome.
also screamed in my ear.
Yeah, Alex did as well. Welcome to Runner Live. This is episode number 39.
Wow.
Yeah, very excited. We're almost over the hill.
Mhm.
We're almost going to need a rocking chair and a walker and maybe a cane.
Yeah, next episode, you're in the Masters division.
Hey,
Mhm.
that's true. We're in the Masters of Podcasting, so that's pretty awesome. I'm really excited about tonight's show because it was a big weekend for 50,000 people in New York City from around the globe. The New York City Marathon was incredible. It was an overwhelming experience. The city is already fucking awesome. I'm sorry to swear so early in the show. It usually comes later after I've been drinking beer. It's incredible. The city is incredible. And then you throw in the mix 50,000 people running a marathon throughout all 5 boroughs with millions of spectators.
Millions of spectators.
And it becomes one of the most overwhelming, just amazing big city marathons. An incredible experience. I'll talk more specifically about my experience later in the show. But I want to talk to Alex Varner about his as a sub-elite.
He's elite in our eyes.
He's fully elite in our eyes.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, of course. Before we get to that, I have to thank everybody who donated to UNICEF during the course of this lead up to the marathon. It is because of you guys that I was able to go and participate with Team UNICEF and my good friend Shay Carl and his sister, good friend Ron Erickson, and Derek, his friend from high school. So that the five of us ran the marathon, not necessarily together because it's 50,000 people, but we all met up before the actual start of the race. And so thank you to Shay and to that whole team for letting me join them. I think we raised about $4,000 for UNICEF charity, which is just incredible. So thank you all who donated.
It's fantastic.
And of course, it's awesome. I'm totally overwhelmed by it. And I wanted to update everyone on the buffs before we get into the show. The buffs have arrived. There's stacks of them downstairs, a lot of them. So I will be, what do they call it? What do they call it when you put them in packages and send them?
You're going to be Santa's elf?
Yes. I will be Santa elfing this whole week, over the next couple of days, sending that stuff out. So those of you who ordered, you'll get it. I promise you'll get it.
Luckily, I'm here to help.
Yeah, luckily I have someone here to help because I'm definitely under the weather now, which is going to be just delightful. So that's pretty much it as far as updates for you guys because a lot of people have been asking over the weekend. And I didn't email anybody back because I was busy, focused on things and internet troubles in the hotel, which are just incredible. Okay, let's get on because we have Alex for very limited time. He pretty much has to turn and burn by around 6:30, 6:35, something like that. So I want to get the full sub-elite experience for you guys so you all know kind of what happens at that level. For those of you who don't know, Alex Varner has been on the show before. He ran Lake Sonoma 50 earlier this year, as well as many other ultras, including Western States, where he placed 7th in his first 100-miler ever. And Lake Sonoma was his first 50-miler as well. He's an incredible runner. And also ran the 2014 San Francisco Marathon and just decided to quit because he hated it. He was just like, fuck this is stupid, and just left. And then we partied all day, eating waffles and mimosas. But I knew he was running the New York Marathon, so we met up in New York and were able to hang out, and I was really curious how he was going to do, and he did well. Alex, kind of walk us through the experience of running the New York Marathon as a sub-elite. I mean, you were treated as an elite. Based off of what you kind of described to me that morning and stuff like that, I feel like you were treated like an elite, despite the title of sub-elite.
Yeah, as far as I know, we were subject to pretty much the same, or treated to pretty much the same kind of logistical. I don't want to say shortcuts, but just they had everything planned out for you. When you sign up, I signed up originally and wasn't in the sub elite kind of category, and then I got an email asking if I'd like to be in. I said yes, of course. And so basically Sunday morning, we got on 2 buses. There were 4 buses for the elites, 2 buses for the sub-elites, men and women separated, and we were taken through, driven to the start line with a police escort, which was
Which is awesome, by the way.
Yeah,
it was a video on your Instagram of the police, stopping traffic so the buses could get to the start line. I mean,
there were
left Manhattan to go to Staten Island.
At least 2 motorcycles on each side, plus a couple of unmarked cars that were just leapfrogging the caravan all the way up. So that was nice, and it was nice because I think my other option before I'd gotten on the bus was I was going to be on the Staten Island ferry at 5:30 in the morning, and. I mean, that's what, I don't know, part of me thinks that's kind of the true marathon experience, is dealing with the hassle of getting there and being amongst all of the runners and kind of in the staging area. Boston's very much like that.
Yeah, you missed out. You missed out on some.
Although yesterday I was happy to be in the bus because they sat with us, they waited with us. We had a heated tent. They had coffee and pastries in our own porta potties, a little area to warm up. And then I guess about 8:45. So the women started at 9:10, half an hour before everybody else, the elite women. And so they called them up, and they were just on the same time schedule, but half an hour bumped up. So they called them to the tent. You drop your bag. So we also have expedited bag check, which is nice. They walked you. You took this long walk kind of through one of the corrals.
Let me ask you this. At this point, are you studying like Meb Kavleski and Kara Goucher and
checking
trying to figure
out the competition?
Like, what are they doing? I need to know what they do before a race so I can.
No, I think at this point, most people who are in the sub elite, or I mean even anybody who's done a couple of marathons, everybody kind of has their own thing. So what works for Meb might not work for anybody. Like in your nutrition video, it's very much a personal thing. So I like to run about a mile before the marathon just because it's comforting. And running that mile, though, was brutal yesterday because we were under the bridge. So I guess you guys, if you're looking at the bridge, the direction we ran, if you're looking towards Manhattan, you guys were off to the left side of the bridge. We were...
Yes. So the starting corrals for regular people... if you're facing Manhattan, facing the race course, we're all on the left-hand side. 50,000 people.
Yeah, so we were on the right-hand side, down below, and we had a little road to warm up on. And warming up on that road, there's a little bit of a hill, and it was just wind in your face the whole time, warming up, and to the point where I ran by a couple of the Kenyan true elite runners, and they were laughing at me trying to run uphill because they'd been there a few minutes before. And all anybody could do was just kind of grin and wave and just kind of go, this is ridiculous. So, yeah, it was, we knew it was going to be windy. And we got that email at 1 a.m. as well.
Right. Yes.
Saying, hey, high winds, we're taking down some tents, we're taking down some signage, and more tents at the finish are going to be down as well. So nobody really knew what to expect. And I guess they changed the wheelchair start as well to Brooklyn.
That's what you mentioned that, where they started it rather than...
I actually haven't had a chance to look into that, but that's what somebody said. So anyways, back to what we were saying is, so I warmed up, we get called up to the corral, and but essentially we're in the same corral. It's just we get let in there before.
Got it.
The first wave of runners comes in. So we were in there, we were doing strides and warming up. The problem was there weren't any bathrooms in the corral. And they parked the buses so close together that you couldn't even kind of stand between the buses to pee. So people were going behind signs and kind of leaning on the buses and peeing between the front and the backs of the buses. And it was typical runner stuff, nobody bats an eye, but it was just entertaining. And then with about 10 minutes to go, they opened the gates, and the Wave 1, Corral 1 came in and joined us. So we were basically ended up, we're in the same corral. We're just at the front. We're just allowed to be at the front. We get a guaranteed spot at the front.
Got it. Cool. Cool.
And so the start, they announced all the elites, and the start is on, I guess you start on the top deck or the bottom deck, as well as the left side of the road and the right side of the road.
Yes.
And so we were on the left side, and the elites were about 200 meters behind us, if not 400 meters behind us, on the right side of the bridge. And there was a big line of buses between us, so we didn't see them. We couldn't see them. And so when we took off, that huge howitzer goes off, and we're the first group of people across the bridge.
It's incredible. What was that like? I mean, you're the first to really encounter the wind. You're the first to get to the cold, the first to get to the course.
Yeah, it was awesome. I mean, it's silence, but there's everybody's feet and breathing. We were kind of clumped together, and it was so blustery at times that people were getting blown into each other.
Mm-hmm.
So I decided to kind of move out. I moved out to the middle. Everybody was on the right side and the right lane, so I moved out to the middle lane and just kind of stayed there and ran across the bridge like that. And I was at my parents' house and saw the TV coverage, and they have the helicopter shot overhead of the bridge, and you can see our little line of guys, and I'm a little yellow dot in the middle of the lane, removed from everybody else. And then you see the elites come up very quickly on the side. And so we kind of, we went down and veered left off of the bridge. I was hoping that the elites would take the same route we did, but I guess they don't. They kind of go, there's two routes off of the bridge depending on which side you're on due to the divider. So we turn left earlier than they turn left before you get onto the main drag in Brooklyn.
Right, yes.
And I was really hoping that we would get personally buzzed by Meb and Kim Sang and Vale and all those guys. But alas, we didn't. But I was in front, which is kind of interesting. I might have been leading the marathon for about 10 seconds.
Let's just say you were. Can we just say you were?
There was nobody on the road in front of me, but that was because I couldn't see the elites on the other route.
That's awesome.
And so that was kind of how the start worked out, and then from there, everybody's running the same race out on the course, and yeah, it was fun. It was a good time.
Now, I don't want to spoil anything. You did very well, but did you enter this race wanting to place? Did you have any expectations? Did you come in, because you're also doing the North Face 50 miler in December? Did you come in wanting to use this as a training run? What was your expectations coming into a race like this, where you're racing some of the best in the world?
I was pleasantly not putting any pressure on myself for this race. I talked with my coach, Jason Coop, about it, and he'd said, it's been on the calendar for months, so we kind of work around it, but it was basically to do a long, hard effort, but not beat myself up too much where I can't hop back into training.
Right.
And ideally, I'll be back doing workouts Thursday or Friday this week, if not both days.
Awesome.
So we'll see. So it was, there was an element of, yes, it's New York, yes, I want to run well, but there was no sort of, I want to place, I have no notion of that sort of thing, and kind of looking through New York to North Face and viewing this as a kind of a stepping stone to North Face. Right. So I came into it, I was excited to run the race, to kind of really be able to experience it, and then especially once we started seeing the weather reports and the wind getting worse and worse. Kind of all time thoughts were, I had a time goal, but all time thoughts kind of went, I'm not really worried about it.
Sure.
Yeah.
So, what was your average pace? Let's talk about pacing. So you're dealing with wind, you're dealing with cold temperatures. Did that alter your goal pace, or were you able to kind of push through all of that?
So I guess I kind of set a goal for myself of trying to run. I thought 2:25 was a good number that I could run, and not beat myself up too much. It's about, it's like 3 or 4 minutes off my PR. So I thought, if I can do that, I'll be very happy, and if I can recover well from it, I'll be even happier. But again, that was just kind of an arbitrary number, and I've been doing tempo workouts for the last month. So I've done no sharpening, no speed work, and so I very well could have gotten out there and run the first 5 miles at 250, 225 pace, and then realized, oh shoot, this is really hard, I need to back off. Or felt great and kept going, which actually ended up being the case. So I kind of had that in mind. I thought 5:20s, 5:30s would feel good, and they did. And I guess, yeah, overall, I think for the whole thing, pace was around 5:30, 5:35.
Okay.
Um,
Decent
when all was
average.
said and done. Yeah, so 2:25:45 was my official finishing time. And
Which
yeah, it
was
was a good effort.
yeah, say it. No, go for it. This is all you. Say it.
Oh, it was a good effort, and yeah, I was pleased with it. It was interesting wearing the heart rate monitor for the thing, and I can look at it, and it was pretty consistent the whole time. And you can almost see the gust of wind, as Coop said. He looked over it today, and he's like, when you break down the data, kind of minute by minute, you can see where little spikes in heart rate, or when you hit a hill, or that sort of thing, or even when the crowds start cheering. You get a little adrenaline boost in your heart rate jumps. It's fun to see.
So you ended up finishing 26th overall out of 50,000 people. Is that accurate? 28. Okay.
I was 26th male, but the women who ran first and second ran 2:25, like 07. They were faster than me. But yeah, 28th overall.
28th overall out of 50,000 people.
There's more than 50,000.
Yeah, there was 50,586, I think, that ran it.
It just keeps getting bigger.
Yeah, every year it gets a little bit bigger. So we were talking a little bit about this weekend. For me, running through, when I was coming through, the fans were 5, 6, 7 people deep, pretty much the entire course. When you were running through, you mentioned that it was about the same in most places because the marathon has such a late start. There's so many people awake at that time that come out and actually support the race. But what was different is I was like, oh man, it was crazy. They were so noisy and all that kind of stuff. You had the opposite experience.
Yeah, it was definitely quieter than I had anticipated. I'm sure it's because the lead group of women have gone by, then they wait half an hour, the lead group of men go by, and then for the next probably 10 or 15 minutes, it's ones and twos. 100 meters, 200 meters apart, just guys who are, around, my level, my pacing, within even probably 5 to 7 minutes on either side of me. After probably the half marathon point, you're almost in no man's land.
Right.
So I was with a group of guys through 13, and then it kind of split up, and a couple of them fell off, a couple stuck with me, one guy moved ahead. But yeah, coming off of like First Avenue, coming off of Queensboro Bridge, onto First Avenue, everybody says, you hit this wall of noise, and I kind of had to throw my hands up a little bit and be like, hey, I'm running, cheer for us and the
cheer
people.
For me.
There were guys within 50 meters of me, and they weren't cheering for them, and which to the point where I had one of my old roommate Reed was standing on First Avenue, and he just yelled, Alex Varner. I used to live with him, and I heard him loud and clear.
Hey, Alex Varner, you're running, and I'm standing. Hey, Alex Varner.
Yeah. And so I waved back and said, hi, Reed, how are you? And kept going.
That's hilarious.
That happened even at mile 25 and a half with a college teammate coming around that right-hand turn as you head up to Columbus Circle at the foot of the park.
Yep.
It was 4 deep, but nobody was yelling. And again, a college teammate, Alex Varner, turned around. Hi, his name is Alex as well, and turned around and said hello and continued running. But people were not as engaged as I'd hoped they might be. But again, I understand they're there for a long day. It's cold, and cheering for every one guy that runs by every 15 seconds will get old.
Right.
Yeah.
Just as a fan experience, I was there to watch all of the elite women go through, the elite men, and I obviously saw you as well. I honestly think a lot of people are focused on taking photos.
Oh, really?
I know myself, I was holding my camera and trying to cheer while I was taking photos. But there was like a ton of people taking photos with all these elites coming through. So maybe I'm wondering if that was...
That's probably a good point.
Where the volume had changed,
Yeah. So, Alex, there's probably millions of people that have photos of you that they're jerking off to.
With your teeny tiny shorts.
Teeny tiny shorts!
Go ahead.
In your kit. Yeah, what do you think was the toughest point in the race for you, and what was the best point in the race for you? Whether physically or just kind of, crowd-wise or course-wise.
Shoot. I would like to going the later miles in Brooklyn a lot more than I thought I would. Miles kind of 8 through 14 went by quickly and were fun. The crowds were pretty raucous. I was still feeling pretty good. I took kind of a gel every 4 miles through mile 20, and then my stomach kind of turned, and I got a bit of a side stitch, and so that was kind of the dark spot. Was up where you go up into the Bronx, and you kind of go across, what is it, Williamsbridge or something like that, Williamstown. No, when you come off of First Avenue.
Oh, you come off of First Avenue, yeah, up into.
You go up, and you kind of go over, and you're like on a freeway on ramp, and then you go left, and then it's right at mile 20.
Yeah.
I was hurting there. I got a side stitch. I had a couple of gels that I've been taken in the preceding miles, and maybe they caught up with me. But at that point, I don't think I took any water or gels for the last 6 miles, which is not something I've done before. And then coming down Fifth Avenue, the stitch kind of went away. I had one gel left in my shorts and knew it was there, but didn't want to take it. I didn't feel like I felt like I'm being in an ultra, kind of, where your stomach is saying, no, I don't want to eat right now. Mm-hmm. And then it's definitely an adrenaline boost when coming down First Avenue, and it's kind of the same in Boston, where you're coming down towards the end, last couple of miles, where some of the elites that were in that, in the front pack, it's not their day, they start coming back to you. And some of the women as well are coming back to you. And so now you've got, instead of having run, I probably ran miles 13 to 20 with the same guys, the same distance in front of me and behind me.
Got it.
And then once we came off back into Manhattan, guys were coming back because, it's not their day. They kind of shut it down and just jog it home. At that point, you might as well finish. You got 4 miles to go or what. So that gives you motivation to kind of pull yourself one at a time through those people. And so I was kind of able to come out of that rough patch that I had in the early 20s, and that was I was very pleased that didn't last to the end.
I mean, obviously your performance kind of proved that everything worked out. Now you're a member of the Nike Trail team.
I am.
You run ultras. You do extremely well at ultras. Did any of that training translate here to the New York course? I felt like the course was a bit deceiving. It had just more hills. I mean, I knew it was going to be like the bridges are hills. The bridges are pretty hilly. Did at any point on any of those hills, did you feel just super strong? Did you feel like your trail training was kicking in? I mean, were you able to kick past a lot of the road guys with the additional experience?
Yeah, I think I felt strong on just the kind of undulations through Brooklyn. The Queensboro Bridge was tough. That was a lot longer of a climb than I had anticipated. And I saw one elite who was bent over with his hands on his knees at that point. Looked like he might throw up. So that's a place where it's kind of easy to almost hit the wall prematurely. At 16, you're not too far from 20, which is where everybody has the proverbial wall. But that hill can really kind of stick it to you earlier if you've gone into a little bit of debt earlier than you should have. So yeah, I mean, I think the training I've been doing has been road and trail tempos, and just keeping in a rhythm, knowing that you're going to slow down a bit, and dealing with the winds as well. Trail training is really good for that. A lot of the workouts that if I don't do them on the trail, I'm either on a very flat road or a track. And kind of the trail with the changing conditions, the wind's going one way, you're turning. Whereas the road and the track, they're kind of much more calculated. And you can know, okay, the wind is coming from here, this is what's going to happen. Whereas yesterday it was coming from all over the place.
Yeah.
You turn left and it would hit you from the left side. You turn right, it would hit you from the left side. And then you turn left again, it would hit you from the right side. There's no rhyme or reason to where it was coming from. So yeah, I think the training definitely helped. It helped just kind of mentally knowing I can do this. It's not a big hill. You can push through it. And kind of keeping your momentum going was a big benefit.
Before we let Alex go, if you guys have any questions for him, those of you who are watching live, type them in the chat room. There's a long discussion going on here about altitude and altitude sickness. But continue to ask questions for Alex. You have access to a sub-elite here who just placed 28th at the New York Marathon, which is incredible because not only are there 50,000 people, yes, of all shapes, all sizes, all speeds, and everything, but out of the elite level that was there competing, it's really
like the best of the best.
Really incredible. Yeah, really the best of the best, man.
Thank you guys.
Everyone says that the race begins at mile 16. So that's what I was told coming into the race, and everyone talked about it at the start line, like, just get to 16. That's where the race begins because that's when you hit First Avenue off of the Queensboro Bridge. We talked a little bit about it. It felt like you were kind of dialed the whole race. Were you waiting to get to 16 to kind of spice it up a bit, or did you just kind of play it safe and just do your thing the entire day, and it just worked out?
Yeah, I didn't wait until 16 to kind of have the race, wait for the race to start. As I said earlier, we were with a group of 5 or 6 guys, probably through mile 10, and then me and another guy were kind of sharing the workload in the group.
Yeah. Okay.
Which I was
drafting and stuff.
Yeah, I like kind of running in the front. It helps. It lets me control the pace. I don't like sitting behind someone and trying not to hit their heels as they kick up or whatever. Right. So I drafted a little bit, but I realized I would just much more. I would end up on someone's shoulder, kind of instead of being right behind them, I would be a foot out or 2 feet outside of them, and that doesn't really do much good. So I just said, heck with it, I'll lead. And so we were pushing the pace pretty well. And that group thinned to, there were 3 of us probably, actually for the rest of the race, who finished within 30 seconds of each other. There was one guy who went on, who put a little gap on me, and I caught him at the finish. Another guy who stayed, 30, 35 seconds behind me. And at the start, he'd said, we're kind of asking around, trying to pick out guys we might be able to run with. And he said he wanted to do 225, and I said that as well. And he said, all right, well, forget the conditions, let's just go for it. And I said, fine, okay, sounds good to me. So you kind of have to do that from the beginning. You can't kind of bank time, especially on these tougher courses, and not knowing what the wind would be like. You've got to hit the pacing pretty well from the gun, and we were able to do that. And it was, it was definitely, I think, to say, I guess kind of hedging what I said earlier, but at 16 was definitely where I started to work. Going up First Avenue, 17, 18, 19, 20, my thought was, all right, get to 20, you can you turn around, you head back into the park. It's kind of the home stretch, downhill. Hopefully the wind will get you back a little bit. But yeah, 16, 17, 18, 19, those were kind of the biggest grinders of miles that I had yesterday.
Got it.
Yeah.
We got some questions in the chat room. Zach Lux. Alex, can you talk about your speed work that you do for trail races of 50 kilometers to 50 miles? Do you work on speed for those sorts of races? I know that you work a lot on the track. Is that what you do to kind of help your trail races?
Yes, that was, I've been working with Jason Coop for about a month now. He's out of Carmichael Training Systems. He coaches Dylan Bowman, KC, Lichtai. I think Ryan Gelfie and Timmy Olsen might also be coached by him now. Uh-huh. So my regime has changed radically in the last month. Before that, I didn't know how to train for ultras. I probably still don't know how to train for ultras, which is why I hired a coach. But it was a lot of speed work. I was working out with my club team in San Francisco, and so we were doing 800,000 mile repeats on the track. I think they're doing 200s tomorrow. So that was kind of where I would get my speed work. And it was the longer, slower stuff that I wasn't doing any of. So right now I'm in kind of a tempo phase, lactate threshold phase, and that will change, in a matter of time. And I'll go through a couple different phases that he's lined up. And so it's kind of focusing on working one area at a time. So kind of the long-winded answer to your question is, the short answer is, right now I'm not doing any sort of speed work, but last year when I was running Cool in Sonoma, I was doing kind of repeats on the track and almost kind of VO2 max stuff where you're running, 5K, 10K race pace for 800 meters to a mile on the track for, any number of intervals.
Got it. We have another question from Niku Doc 68. Alex, how do you store all those gels in those tiny shorts?
We got some. Nike was kind enough to make us sew some pockets in our shorts for Western States, and so we've got 4 internal pockets in our shorts that I can fit. Shoot, at Western, I think I fit 2 or 3 picky bars plus like 6 goos in there, and they work out really well. They sit flush. They don't bounce. It's awesome. So I can carry. Yeah, yesterday I carried 6 goos in my shorts and ate 5 of them, and no issues.
No issues. Totally fine.
Do you utilize the water stations along the?
I do. I tried to. The problem. it's not a problem, but one of the major issues of going through a water station and running fast through the water stations is it's kind of a violent collision with your hand in the water cup. So 2/3 of the water's gone by the time it gets to your mouth.
Yeah.
Right.
And if you're lucky enough to kind of get one on the first swing but through, and the volunteer lets go, that's great. Sometimes they don't let go of the cup. So you don't get any water. So I tried to drink. I probably drank every other aid station or every aid station that I could up until, as I said, about mile 20 when I started feeling a little iffy and didn't want to. But I do it often because you don't get a lot of water.
Yeah.
Right.
When you're drinking out of the cup, but you grab it, you pinch it, and I think 4 or 5 times more water ended up on my jersey and my shorts than into my mouth. And that's just kind of what happens.
Right.
Yeah.
This is from Joey Dawson. Can you ask Alex what he loves about living and running in the San Fran area? It's a good question.
Everything. It's living. Yeah. So I live in Mill Valley. I live basically at the foot of Mount Tamalpais, and I've got trails from my 2 kind of major. I mean, I'm half a mile from the Dipsy Trail. I can run, other trails within 10 minutes on foot. So the accessibility to open space is fantastic. You can run fire roads, you can run single track. It's great. And if you don't want to run those, the roads are pretty nice.
Yeah.
A lot of people have asked me on my recovery days, and if I'm doing a flat workout or something, I'll run from my office in the city, and I can, I've got a 12. I mean, you can run between 12 and 16 miles just from downtown up to the bridge. If you want to go across the bridge, you can go across it, or just run back down along Chrissy Field and the Embarcadero, and you're looking out at the bay and the bridge and Alcatraz, and it's amazing. So roads or trails, it has it all. It's a little expensive at times to live here.
Yeah, of course.
But I think that would New York's the same way. LA is not too far off. So it is kind of a sacrifice in that respect sometimes, but I've got a pretty good living arrangement and no complaints there, so I'm pretty fortunate when it comes to that.
Yeah, it looks like you live with a lot of metals, which is great.
I don't have any curtains. And the other one is hats. Oh, where'd it go? There you go.
Nice. Yeah, love it. Cute curtains.
Exactly.
Final question for you, Alex, before we let you go. It's a 2-parter from Michael Strickland. 1, any turkey trot races planned? And 2, what's your best beer mile time?
Strickland. So I know him.
Yeah.
He works for Presidio Sports Management.
Oh, nice. Excellent.
Yeah. And they're kind of up and coming representation for endurance athletes right now. So sorry, question was beer mile and what was the first one?
Turkey trot.
Turkey trots.
Oh, turkey trot.
You got any little cute turkey trots coming up?
I don't know. I haven't decided yet. San Jose has the Silicon Valley Turkey Trot, which is a 5K road race, and it's essentially a track meet on the road. There's 4 3/4-mile loops around downtown San Jose. It's pancake flat. The race director brings in elites to run it, like fast 5K elites. Alan Webb ran it when he was running well. I think Rupp has run it. Diego Estrada. What am I trying to? This guy, another guy from Northern Arizona. David McNeil. I mean, they've gotten some really big names to come out year after year, and it's nice because if you run as part of a Pacific Association team, you can run that turkey trot and be on the same start line as those guys. And be in the same race as them. There's also a 10K down there that doesn't have elites, but the 5K is kind of the premier event that they bill, and so you can line up, and watch as Jordan McNamara speeds off down the road, and you're stuck there, sucking wind for 3 miles. So that's an option, but it's down in San Jose, and I've done that a couple times. And Thanksgiving it's a long way to drive on Thanksgiving morning, but there's no traffic. And then we have
come to LA and run the turkey trot down here. It's not that far of a drive.
And then and there's also a high school coach, or a guy who, local high school coach, Jason Jacobson, puts on Marin Turkey Trot, and that's a 10K road race and a 5K cross country race. So there's a couple options. I'm not sure what I will be doing, if any. It kind of depends on my workout schedule. So we shall see.
Beer mile time?
beer mile time. I think somewhere around 6:40. Very.
That's not bad.
I was joking with Brett. He commented on my Strava. Brett of SF Running Company. Sorry for those who don't know.
Yeah. No, Brett Rivers. Yeah.
He commented on my Strava activity. Just said, "So you're fit for the mile on Friday," and we're running a beer mile on Friday. And I said, "Well, I know I can run a 5:30 on foot. Just we'll see how fast I can drink the beer." And that's the hard part for me. Not that it's not the hard part for anybody, but that always gets me.
You just, you don't want to waste it. You don't want to waste it by just chugging it. It's just.
Well,
so
it's Budweiser, so.
Yeah, so it's terrible. So you kind of do want to waste it.
Yeah, you kind of want to drink it fast.
Well, I have to, before we let you go, I just have to say a huge congratulations, man. It was really cool to hang out with you the night before and grab dinner and know that you were going to do pretty awesome things, and then to see you do something really awesome, and then be able to like hang out with you after at the after party and stuff. Like, we know this guy. He was 28th.
It was pretty cool
place.
to watch you run
awesome.
by when I was at mile 17 and say to my friend, "I know that guy."
I know that guy. That guy that's running alone and dumping water out all over the place.
You were 2 minutes off a PR in those conditions.
Thank you for spoiling the next half hour of the show. Thank you for ruining Runner Live. Thank you.
I apologize. Wanted to say it. You ran really well.
Again, thank you for spoiling. No, I'm just kidding. Well, I can't wait to hang out with you again. I know that we're going to see you at the North Face 50 miler in the beginning of December, that's my last race of the season, so I'm really excited to be running that. And we'll be partying very stuff, and you're going to do great things, man. Can't wait to see what else you got coming on this year.
Thank you very much. It's always a pleasure.
And we'll get you back on soon, man. So thanks for taking time out. I appreciate it.
Take care, guys.
You got it. Later, man.
Yeah.
So please go follow Alex on all the social networks. On Twitter, it's AF Varner. I believe that's pretty much across the board. It's AF Varner. Worth it. The guy posts some really great stuff on Strava. It's really fun to kind of follow guys like him who drop 5:40 miles or 5:15 miles every once in a while, just to kind of make you go, oh, I need to work a lot more. Really nice dude too, super humble, and he definitely enjoys to party after races, and that's pretty cool too. So it was great to have him on the show and talk about his experience. My experience was the opposite. I did not run a 2:25. I ran a 2:28. Plus like an hour. Plus.
You placed like 30th overall?
Yeah, I placed 30th overall. So I was really trying real hard.
Hair.
So I'll kind of like I'll walk you guys through the experience of what it's like to run the New York Marathon as a regular human, because it's a similar experience, but I'll kind of go through some of the details that kind of overwhelm me in a sense, because it's my first real big city marathon. I've run Seattle, I've run Portland, I've run LA, I've run San Francisco, all West Coast races. I haven't run Chicago, I have not run New York, and these are, or Boston. I've been to Boston, but it's my first experience running one of this size. So it's kind of one of those, I wanted to absorb everything, and I definitely filmed. I have footage that I haven't even got to pull off my camera yet, but I'll be editing a video for that as well. But the overall experience was, I can't really say anything other than overwhelming. So at the beginning, basically, we fly in on Friday. It's pretty much a whirlwind trip, right? And Kim, if you see anything in the chat room,
I just noticed that Rochelle's in the chat room.
Oh, awesome. Rochelle, how's it going? Sorry we let Alex go so soon. But yeah, if you see any, if you guys want to ask any questions while I'm talking, because I tend to talk a lot, Kim will interrupt me.
Yeah, I'll do my best.
She's great at interrupting me, making me stop talking. So we got in on Friday, and in my mind, I'm going, yeah, it should be fine. Like, you fly in Friday. We left very early Friday morning, but of course it's a 6-hour flight plus it's the 3-hour time difference. So by the time you land, it's already nighttime. You basically have to go to your hotel, check in, go to bed, and then you have a day to kind of get acclimated to the time difference, plus turning your clocks backward.
Plus the weather.
So there are a lot of factors that were kind of going into me not necessarily getting a lot of sleep or a lot of rest or taking care of my body. I have no idea what ended up happening on Sunday. Really don't. Okay, so Sunday comes around. We have to wake up pretty early, 4:30 or something.
You were up at 4:30.
Yeah, 4:30 to wake up. I've woken up earlier for other races, so that really was what was concerning. but it was the time difference plus the turning the clocks back and kind of making sure everything was in line. And you have to get yourself to the buses where the buses pick you up. There's buses in downtown. There's ferries that you can take and take the Staten Island ferry. There's all sorts of modes of transportation that you can use to get to the start line that are sanctioned by the race. Since I raised money through UNICEF had a charity bus section where you could go to the buses to hop on and get a ride to the start line. So I took a taxi real quick up to where those picked us up, and our buses weren't there. There was 3 or 4 buses there, but 27 charities with 100 people each charity. So there's a lot of people standing on the sidewalk. And at this point, you get your first taste of the cold. I knew it was going to be cold. The weather predictions had been pretty ominous. People had talked about snow Saturday night, freezing temperatures Sunday morning, crazy winds, like 40-mile-per-hour winds.
It's windy when the race sends out an email telling you how windy it is.
The only other time that's ever happened when I've gotten an email from the race the night, like hours before the race start, in the middle of the night, was the North Face 50K in 2012 when they sent out a storm warning, or like a course change warning at 12:30 a.m. the night or the morning of the race, talking about all this. You could die, just, be careful, but the course is going to change because you could die and the weather's going to be terrible, but, be safe, but you could die. So this email came to us earlier, warning of wind. They were going to tear down a lot of the tents because it was a wind hazard, and a lot of the signage along the course. So there weren't going to be any signs telling you when aid stations were, where the water was or anything, because wind would rip them down. That's fine. I knew it was going to be windy. I knew it was going to be cold. Nothing I couldn't handle. I was pretty amped for this race, and I had put out there many times that I wanted to try to PR. The reason why was because at the San Francisco Marathon in July, I ran it because it was so close to Squamish. That was a perfect opportunity to take a 26-mile training run that was sanctioned, had great aid stations, and it was hilly, and it was just a good, tough road marathon experience a couple weeks out from Squamish. I wasn't going to race it hard. That would have been terrible and probably could have damaged my Squamish races. But I got 2 seconds off of my PR at the San Francisco Marathon, and marathons are hard. They're terribly hard. But I finished that race kind of feeling, wow, I felt great. Like, I can walk around, I can run more. Like, I can run tomorrow. No big deal. I'm 2 seconds off. So I went into New York going, if I was 2 seconds off and I didn't really work, let's see where my fitness is at. Let's see if I can push it and just get that 2 seconds, get that PR. No big deal. Even if I PR'd by a second, I'd be happy. So that was my goal going into the New York Marathon. So we get onto the charity buses. The charity buses didn't show. So we all had to cram onto like 3 and hustle our asses to the start line. At this point, I still hadn't met up with the UNICEF team guys, Shay, Ron, Carly, or Derek. But we met at the start line. So the start line is on Staten Island. 50,000 people all huddled underneath blankets, underneath tarps, basically any place they could find to lay down or to cover themselves with blankets or anything, something. Even hay.
I saw pictures of people with hay covered up.
So they laid down hay to keep mud from forming in the grass because it was still really wet. But people are pulling up the hay and laying it on them so they could stay warm. I'm like, oh, that's genius. It's also terribly disgusting. Like, oh, fuck. That's hay that 50,000 people have walked on. It's covered in mud. And people were doing anything to stay warm. It was really cold.
What did you do the day before to stay warm?
What, in New York?
You had to go purchase stuff.
Oh, yes. Because I have I just did a round of clothing donations. So I have no extra clothes to donate. So I didn't have anything to wear at the start line to keep warm. So I had to go to the store and get cheap clothes, like a cheap sweatshirt and cheap pants to wear at the start line. Barely helped. I mean, it barely helped because it was frigid. So it's just runners huddled together using each other's body warmth. I ended up finding Shay and Ron and Carly and Derek, and they were huddled underneath a giant white tarp in the corner of the charity tent. So I went over and like huddled underneath there with them just to stay warm. And then when they call the corrals are just nuts. There's 3 different colors. There's 4 different waves. And then there's 5 or 6 different letters in each color for each wave. And it's kind of a cluster because they start making announcements telling you to go to the corral. You go to the corral and it's closed off, so you can actually go into it because the other corral's still in there and they're waiting to start. It's a clusterfuck, and there's people pushing each other. No one cares about anybody else. Just kind of disappointing, but it's just everyone like pushing and shoving to get in because they think that they're late, We finally get into the corral, and that's when everyone kind of is relaxing and people start smiling and talking to each other. And go ahead.
Somebody's asking if you wore your man prees.
I did. Who is it? Was it Vargo? That sounds like a question that Vargo would ask. Oh yeah, Raul. Yeah, I did, because I didn't want to go full tights because I was like, oh, it's gonna be too warm with full tights, and I didn't want to go shorts because it would be too cold for shorts. So I went man prees. I went man prees, and it was totally great. It was a logical choice from the waist down.
Yeah,
but I was still cold. Didn't matter. I was still cold. Tights wouldn't have helped. Like nothing would have helped. It was just cold and windy, and the wind chill was even worse. So we get into the starting corral. And everyone's kind of beginning to, rip off their warm clothes and take pees on the boxes and on each other and against the fence and all that kind of stuff. And then they shuffle you down into the start line corral. And it's overwhelming at that point because there are so many people around you. 10,000 people are starting at that point. And you have the military up ahead with the howitzer that they fire at the start line. They sing the national anthem. You see people getting really emotional at the start line because a lot of people have worked many years to get there, whether through the lottery system or through training or, they had to go through charity or whatever it took for them to get there from all around the world, all around the globe. So it was really cool. And they're all wearing, their country, the shirts with their country's name on it. So you see people from Australia and France and Spain and Kazakhstan and, everywhere. And it's really awesome.
There was different little pods of cheer groups that were, for the countries.
For the countries and stuff.
Really cool, yeah.
So before I knew it, they started counting down, and they basically say, "Are you ready?" And then the howitzer fires, and then the race starts. And a follower managed to turn on ESPN when they were showing the start line and snapped a screenshot. And look who.
To see that and capture it.
So thank you. I think his name is Ken. I don't want to fuck it up. I'm sorry. I retweeted it and I shared it and stuff, but I forgot the guy's name. I should pull up Twitter and look. But it was very nice of you for doing that. So that starts the race.
How did you feel when you were starting this race compared to any other marathon? Was it a different feeling for you?
Cold. That's it. I was so overwhelmed by the cold and the wind. My body was not warm. There's really no place to go warm up, run or anything because there's just so many people. And you don't have the benefit of running a mile before the marathon like Varner did. So I was just cold. My body was cold. I'm like, okay, there are 10,000 people starting with me right now. It's total clusterfuck. I will take the first couple miles just to let the body warm up because the last thing you want to do is push hard on a cold body and do some damage at the very beginning of a marathon. And the first mile is up the...
Kenneth Dancer. That was me.
Oh, Ken. It is Ken. Awesome. Thank you, man. That's Ken's pick. Ken, I hope I have permission to use your screen grab. So that is Ken's screen grab. That is not mine. Ken got it. So thank you, Ken. That was awesome. The first bridge is tough. It's really tough because it's your first hill and you are starting with a climb.
It's a pretty decent hill.
Yeah, it's a pretty decent hill. Elevation. I think it's like 150 feet or 200 feet of elevation in less than like a quarter mile or half mile.
Cold muscles.
Yeah. So it's tough. And you're dealing with tons of people. Trying to push and shove your way through. The benefit of being on this bridge is the whole bridge is closed off. So no traffic like the San Francisco Marathon. The Golden Gate Bridge is open to traffic. So you have, basically it starts pretty tight with people, but then by the time you get to the top of the bridge, the apex, the crowd is really spread out more. So you have more elbow room, but the wind would still get you. And I noticed it right off the bat, the winds were up to 35 miles per hour and it would blow as I'm running, as my foot would come back, it would blow my heel back, so it would almost cross my shoe behind my other ankle and cause you to trip. So that was obviously like the most dangerous thing that happened in the first mile. Is like having to consciously keep your feet actually a little bit wider than you would normally would in case you get blown in, so you don't end up tripping and falling on the bridge and dying because it was a bridge. So at this point, my body just wasn't warm. I was just going. I was just trying to get into some sort of groove.
I was more asking like, I guess mentally or emotionally, how are you feeling? Because this race is like I don't know one runner that doesn't have this race on their like bucket list run.
Oh, that is why I did this. That is why I was like, yes, I'll go through the charity route. I'll try to raise the money. This is a bucket list race. If you get an opportunity to run it, if someone asks you to join their charity team or anything like that, you have to do it. I believe it was Raul or someone in the chat room was talking about applying 3 times, and they're 0 for 3. I believe there's a rule now where if the 4th time you have not made it in, you automatically get in. Correct me if I'm wrong, but people had tried for years. And while we're running out there, people are like, is this your first New York? I'm like, yeah. They're like, oh, it's mine too. I've been trying for years. You're like, that's crazy. I mean, this lottery system it's tough to get into. So I had to take advantage of it. Bucket list race for sure. And by the end of my race description, I hope you guys add it to your list. It's incredible. As far as road marathons go, probably one of the best. I mean, I've run a lot of the West Coast. I haven't done Chi. I haven't done Boston, but incredible, just incredible. New York puts on a great race. So after the first 1.5 miles, 2 miles, you're back into the city. You get into Bay Ridge and you start hitting the roads. And a tip that a lot of people also told me about is when you're running in New York, you know you're going uphill if you only see a couple stoplights. You know you're going downhill when you see a lot of stoplights. So right off the bat, you're kind of doing another climb in Bay Ridge, and it's a lot of this. It's a really roly-poly course. It's terrible English. Most of the course is either up or down. There's really very few flat sections, so it kind of sneaks up on you. At this point in Brooklyn, I'm just kind of chugging along, kind of doing my thing, but in my mind, I'm going, push the pace a bit, like push it. Go sub 8, like just kind of drop some 750s or 755s, like just.
That was kind of your plan. See how you feel and
see, because I pushed from the start before, but then also suffered terrible bonks in the past. So this was the first road marathon where I really wanted to just let's push it from the beginning and see if I can push all the way to the end. If I bonk, I know what it feels like. I can push through it, no problem. I have no problem failing miserably at this race. No big deal. But at least I know I tried.
A couple of people have chimed in about the 3rd application or 4th try and you're in. They're saying that has now been taken out as of this year.
That sucks.
So there's been a couple of people that have said that.
Oh, so. That sucks. All right, bye, Vargo. Chris Vargo is in the chat room, and congrat your roommate, Vargo. Congratulate him. Nick Arcianaga, 10th place at the New York Marathon this last weekend, and he's roommates with Chris Vargo. So you can thank him, or Chris. You should ask him to thank you for teaching him everything he knows, because obviously it's you, Vargo. You are the reason why he got 10th place. Okay, so Brooklyn happened.
You're gonna try and push a little bit.
Yeah, I'll try to push a little bit. The wind never really lets up. There's gusts. It's cold. Every block, you get to the side block and the wind comes screaming down. I get into Park Slope, Brooklyn, where my sister used to live, and I remember going to her house multiple times a year. She lived there for 14, 15 years with her husband before they moved to Los Angeles, and I would go and stay in their house every time I was in New York. Oh, you taking that out?
I don't need it, right?
No, because we can talk to each other, so we don't even need that anymore. We'll just put that down. And as I run by 26th Street, we're running on 4th, I believe, 4th and 26th. I'm pulling out the camera because I want to film it, and so she sees that I ran by her house and that kind of thing. And you can't help but get a little bit emotional when you're doing. I mean, my sister was a big part of why I did this too, because she always talked about how the New York Marathon would run by her house, and they would go out and they would watch the runners go by, and it was kind of a tradition. And it seems like that's just how it is a New Yorker thing. It's a tradition to go out there. The city basically shuts down. Everyone just goes out and supports. That's why there's 2 or 3 million people supporting the race. So hearing those stories year after year after year, and finally being able to run this race and not having them there was sad, because I really wanted them to be at that corner cheering me on, because that was where they lived, and I spent a lot of my youth going and visiting them for holidays and spending time in New York and learning about the city and stuff. So that was a special moment for me, running by their old house. And that's also when the fans really started to get crazy. Like, as you start going into Williamsburg, people are going apeshit, 5, 6, 7 deep, just constant noise. And the streets start getting a little bit narrower there too, so it's not the double lane with a median down the middle. It's like a 2-lane road, and people are they're super close to you, and it is awesome. It is awesome. It's so overwhelming, and there's cool bands playing, like local street performers and stuff doing what they do best on the sidewalk, and people are dancing and just going crazy. The whole rest of the race was like that. There were a couple spots where maybe 3 or 4 blocks were just empty or really quiet, and it was nice because it almost kind of gave this rhythm to the race, where you would run through these crazy loud sections. You'd be like, this is incredibly overwhelming. I remember near Bedford, I was thinking of looking for you because we had talked a bit about you maybe seeing me at Bedford. So mile 11 and a half, I'm kind of looking on side to side, and I'm getting dizzy and I'm getting really frustrated because I'm trying to find one person out of a crowd of thousands. You were wearing a blue jacket, and a lot of people in New York don't wear bright blues.
Right.
They just don't. It's black, brown, gray, or black, extra black. So when I'm looking back and forth for blue jackets, I'm just not seeing anything. And then I'm like, I just want to get out of the crowd now because there's just so many people. I'm overwhelmed. But then it would happen. Like a couple blocks would be super quiet, and you can kind of refocus.
Have a bit of a clearing.
It was really great. It was really cool, kind of natural rhythm to the race. I'm still pushing at this point, having some fun. I'm not paying attention to my watch so much because I know my watch can be inaccurate on some of these bridges because they are roofed bridges and all that kind of stuff. I'm keeping an eye on it. It's telling me I'm running around 8:05 minute miles every time I kind of look at it, which is good. I'm feeling good with that. I'll be happy because that's well on PR pace. And then when I get to the Queensboro Bridge, I push up this bridge because I know once you get to mile 16, you're off to the races. Like it's 10 miles left. You get to First Avenue. There's lots of fans. It's a bit hilly, but then you cross into the Bronx, and then when you start coming back, it's just adrenaline. So I start pushing up and over into Queensboro, and this is also when I know I'm going to see Kim on the other side at mile 16.
That's where I was. Yeah.
We knew that was your safety station. We're like,
yeah.
I'll definitely see you there. Well, hopefully. And I've also been told that as you come off the Queensboro Bridge, it's so loud. You just gradually hear the rumble of the crowd rising as you come down into the city. And it happened. It wasn't as overwhelming as I anticipated based off people's descriptions. I think maybe it's because I said maybe like 3 times in the last 30 seconds. It could be that it was a little bit earlier in the race because there's still a lot of people behind me, 40,000 plus people behind me. So maybe the crowd just wasn't really warmed up yet or something. I don't know. But when I came down onto First Avenue, or you come off the Queensboro Bridge and take a sharp left and come back and go for First Avenue, the crowd was, clapping and cowbells and stuff for people coming down, but there wasn't a lot of loud energy. So I'm kind of doing this, and you go under this bridge and I'm doing this, and people are just, oh yeah, an excuse to cheer. And so then people kind of start going crazy, so you kind of have to amp them up because they've been out there for probably a good 2 hours and they're waiting for their friends or whatever for another 2 hours. So yeah, so it definitely, it's good energy at the end there.
So I was supposed to.
This is where Kim comes in.
Yeah, I was going to be at that corner for you, but my friend and we had arrived there, and it was already so packed with fans that there was no way I was getting anywhere near where you would even remotely be able to see me. So we kind of just kept heading up First Avenue until we could find somewhere. Or this was, I guess, before you came, because I actually had got there in time to see all the elites come through.
Yeah.
So that was kind of my other goal for the day, was to see all the elites, the males and females, and of course Kara Goucher come through. So we had perched ourselves somewhere. We were right against the bars for that, and then it started getting really, really crowded. Like literally, as time was going by, more and more and more people were just flooding into the sidewalks. So I ended up moving further down because I didn't know if you were going to even be able to see me. So I wanted to do whatever I could.
Yeah, we kind of gave up on that.
I want to do whatever I could
to
stand out. So that's why I ended up being about 1.5 miles down from where we originally were hoping to see each other.
Yeah, I was thinking mile 16. As I'm running by mile 16, I'm doing the scan, but First Avenue is 6 lanes wide. It's really wide. Yeah. So I can run to one side and keep an eye on it. But both sides are 3, 4, 5. The left side, which is the inner city side, 10 people deep. There's
sun
no
was
way.
Shining on that side.
Yeah, so people were staying warm. So there's no way I'm going to see you on that side. There's just so many people just huddled over the wall. You see 5, 6 people high. So I'm like, oh, I'm not going to see her. She might see me, but there's just, even if she yelled, there's no way I'm going to hear you. There's no way. So I kind of give up at mile 16 and a half. And then mile 17.25, I hear this, Ethan. And it was Kim and your friend.
Yeah.
Who simultaneously yelled Ethan. It was the only way I heard you guys.
I had yelled probably 5 or 6 times.
Yeah. Because I had kind of passed him. But they managed to yell.
I was waving my blue arms in the air.
So I caught them and turned around and saw them. I was like, yeah. So I went over and said hi, got on my camera and stuff like that. I did not waste any time.
No, you were in and out.
So I'm not going to say, oh, this was that beer that I drank at San Francisco Marathon on mile 24 or whatever. Not the case. I basically ran up, filmed a quick hello, and was like, I got to go, and kept going. This is also when the wheels started to fall off for me. Everything started to cramp up. I mean, my nutrition was dialed. I felt fine nutrition-wise. No nausea, nothing wrong with the stomach. It was great. But all day, I just couldn't get my cadence up. My rhythm of my feet, I just felt no speed in them. And a large part of it was I never felt like I got warm. Like my muscles didn't get warm. They felt like they were on the verge of getting warm all day, but they never did. And I really don't know what else happened. While I'm at mile 17, 18, 19, kind of going into mile 20, where I know it's like the wall, I'm putting everything out there that I physically can, because First Avenue does these little hills, little dips and stuff. So you're still working. There's large sections where you're working pretty hard. And a lot of people are suffering at this point too. I mean, you can just pick off people as you're running by, like 50 people, 60 people, because everyone's they're hurting really bad. But I couldn't get it together, and I was really getting disappointed. I'm like, this is impossible. My nutrition is dialed. I feel great. Why are my legs not working? My quad started to cramp. My hamstring started to cramp. My feet started to get sore. It's like, this is just too early for this. But it started going through my head that maybe I did the 50K 2 weeks earlier. I ran some between, but I gave myself a full week to recover.
50K
Wasn't a usual 50K.
It was a long time out there with me.
My effort during the 50K wasn't high. I was just kind of keeping even with you. We spent a lot of time working on just getting up the mountain and finishing. I considered it time on feet. It was 8 hours and 18 minutes or whatever, time on feet, which is still great training. Like, if you can get time on feet, that's just definitely beneficial for longer races. But for some reason, I'm like, is that the reason why I'm not able to put out the energy? I was really surprised. I took the last 2 weeks fairly easy. I didn't go hard. Last weekend's mileage was really low. So I was bummed. But mile 20, you go up the Willis Bridge to go over into the Bronx. Was still able to push it pretty good. People are just dying on the hills, but I'm like, you can run mountains. This is nothing. You run 4,000 feet in 2 hours or an hour or whatever.
Did you find yourself tapping into your trail runner side during the day?
Oh, it was frustration.
Yeah.
I mean, my trail runner side is much more, I think of the whole course as a piece. So I'll study the course of an ultra and tick off where the mountains are, know when I need to start power hiking or climbing, or I have a strategy for that. The New York Marathon, you can look at the elevation profile and go, oh, there's 2 bridges that are really kind of steep. And once you get past those, rollers are fine. With San Francisco, you know where those rollers are. It goes up into the bridge, across the bridge and back.
Yeah.
And I know the second half of that race is easier because it's downhill. So you can fly. But with the New York, I just had no expectation. I didn't know what to expect. It's been years since I've been back. Central Park in my mind is it's flat. And in my mind, First Avenue is flat and Madison Avenue is flat. Like, in my mind, everything is flat because it's New York. It wasn't the case. So by the time I get through the Bronx and back over into Manhattan, running through Harlem, it's a little bit flatter here, but I'm just not able to push it at all. I mean, my mileage splits. I'm looking on Strava, which is taking forever. By the way, my upload to Strava, thank you, Strava, for apparently shitting the bed tonight, did not take my Cinto file. So I had to export a fit file and upload it, and it's totally wrong, which is great. But my splits are fairly accurate, I believe. My splits stayed consistent for most of the day. I had a couple miles there towards the end that were a little bit faster, like my last 2 miles, but it was rough. It was a rough go. I just couldn't. I kept looking at my watch. At that point, I was like, you're 5 miles from the finish line. A PR could be in your grasp. Get it together. Push. Like, run. Do a 7:10 mile. Do a 6:40 mile. You can do it. You've done it. Why can't you do it now? Like, just push those legs. They wouldn't respond. Nothing worked. It was just what you're running at now is as fast as you physically can go. But everything felt like my stomach felt good. My mind was ready. It was so frustrating.
It's almost more frustrating because you're actually feeling.
I'm like, all I want to do is get there faster.
Yeah.
I'm looking at my watch going, I have 24 minutes to run 3 miles. That is so easy to do. 8-minute miles. I can do that in my sleep. Like, all I need to do is just suffer for the 8-minute miles to get to the finish line. I'm like, 3 miles. I could, let's do 7:20s. Let's just have some fun. Nothing worked. Nothing worked. And it was so frustrating. So by the time I got into Central Park, there's hills. Central Park has hills. Who would have thunk? I didn't give up on the PR until the very last second. There's no way. I mean, I was going as hard as I physically could. And there was a lot of people who were fans of the Ginger Runner who were out there and they were watching. And I would hear, Ethan, Ginger Runner. And I'd turn and they'd be like, yeah. And I'd be like, yeah. So that stuff, it keeps you going. It absolutely pushes you harder. A little bit of bursts of energy, a little bit of an adrenaline kind of pushes you forward. And at that point, I was just like, you know what? You're going to push as hard as you physically can. You're just going to trust that. Start enjoying it now. Get that frustration and turn it off, and keep your head up, look around, look at what you're doing, look at the people around you who are also running. It's a moment in races that a lot of people kind of get to where they just kind of absorb it, right? And I was trying to do that all day. I think I shouldn't. I mean, it's not like I put a lot of pressure on myself to get a PR. I didn't. I put it out there, so you guys knew I was going to try to go for it. Not a big deal. I'm totally fine not getting it at the New York Marathon because it's one of those races. You're just fucking lucky to be there.
Yep. And we talked about that too.
Yeah.
It's one of those races that everybody wants to do. If you're there, regardless how your day is going, just kind of suck it up and just remind yourself how many people try and get in every year.
And you might be hurting, but there's people around you that are hurting worse. I mean, there's people standing there punching their legs trying to get them to wake back up. And you look at them and go, you pushed too hard at mile 10. Like how would you have known that? How would you have known you pushed too hard at mile 10 or whatever? And now you're suffering the cramp at mile 26. You have 0.2 left. So it's the final stretch. You basically turn right to come along the bottom 59th or 61st or something along the bottom towards Columbus Circle. Where you turn another right and you go back into the park towards the finish line.
I actually saw you there, but there was no way you would have been able to see me.
This was the most incredible spectator moment because on the right you have the Central Park, just beautiful. You're running along the park. And it was at this point the day was gorgeous.
Yeah.
Cold, so very cold and very windy. But the sun was coming through the trees, which had changed color towards fall, and it was like, come on. Talk about like a perfect New York moment. And on the left-hand side is just thousands of people.
Yeah.
They're far away. Like they unfortunately push them all the way to the side of the street, and it goes all the way around Columbus Circle. And as you run around Columbus Circle, it's just people going ape shit, and it's incredible.
There's people standing there cheering when they can't even see the runners.
Yeah.
Like there's so many so many people deep that you can't even see, and there's just people just standing there like cheering. I loved it.
You can't help but get emotional. You just can't. And we all know this by this point. I do get emotional during races. I feel like if you don't run it with emotion, you should. I don't know. I just get really passionate about it, right? And it's really cool to see other people's stories or hear other people's stories and see other people doing things they never thought they could do. That last stretch of this finish, what a period on the end of that sentence. You run up a hill to the finish line. You run up a hill, like a stupid hill. I mean, it's maybe a 1/10 of a mile long, if that. But you just look at it and go, oh, come on. You couldn't have put the finish line at the bottom of the hill and then, had us walk up or whatever. No, you got to run up it. And it's pretty cool to be able to finish the New York Marathon. So yes, I finished.
Let's see the hardware.
Where did I put it?
Where is your hardware?
I thought I brought it out here. That's what I was. Can you just check in my room there? I thought I brought it out. And I was looking around for it earlier. I'm like, where the hell did it go? Just check on the bed there. 3:46:31 was my official finishing time. Trust me, guys. I know a lot of people would kill for that time. Let me get you a nice close up here, guys.
It's a beautiful medal.
It is awesome. They were talking about it in the chat room. How it's not very big. It's a New York Marathon. It's not very big. But another point was perfect. It's like they have to make 50,000 of these.
50,000.
And so I have to be honest. Like it's hard metal. It's heavy. I've had race medals from marathons that are like, really? Yeah. You went to like a local hobby shop and had them print marathon on it, or put a sticker on the back that says marathon. So it's nice. It's a nice piece of hardware. Got the city skyline there. I'm really, really happy to be able to wear this. Very, very excited.
There's been questions about your nutrition during the race. What were you doing? How was your nutrition? Yeah. There's been questions about what shoes were you wearing?
Sally McRae says, Ethan, my son is laughing so hard at your stupid hill comment. Just said, Mama, Ethan's so funny. Thank you.
Sorry. So maybe you want to.
Yeah, talk about nutrition, gear, and stuff like that.
Yeah, somebody's asking how your nutrition was during your race.
So I mean, it was dialed. It was totally dialed.
What were you doing for
Tailwind. It was the same. Basically, every road marathon in the last, I think this year, I just used Tailwind. So I would do 200 calories an hour in a single handheld and supplement with 2 goos. I also carry goos And before the race, I'll either do a Pocket Fuel peanut butter or a Pocket Fuel Java shot or a mocha shot, like the caffeine.
The cold brew. Yeah.
So on this morning, the dog's coming in with the toy, like, you guys want to play? And then he's turning around and leaving because he knows that we're not wanting to play. So in the morning, I had one of the Java shots because there was not very good coffee at the Starline. It was Dunkin' Donuts, but it was overcooked. That's what everyone says with East Coast coffee. Who's not from the East Coast? Oh, it tastes overcooked. And everyone on the East Coast is like, it's perfect. Dunkin' Donuts is perfect. I think their batch was bad in this one barrel. So I had an espresso shot, Pocket Fuel espresso shot, a bagel for breakfast with some peanut butter. I think that's pretty much it. I didn't eat the Kind bar. I didn't eat much else, which is fine because I wasn't really hungry. It was totally fine. And I knew once I started getting tailwind in my system, it was going to be good. So I did, 3 tailwinds. Three of the hours I did tailwind, and then the last hour I did the 2 goos. I actually felt like I needed the 2 goos because I was just getting hungry and needed food in my system.
Yeah.
So it never felt like my legs are out of energy or any of that kind of stuff. It just felt like my legs were cramped and done. They were just fried.
Tired.
And I'll tell you, after finishing that race, I could barely walk. I mean, it was the first marathon I've run in a long time where I was wrecked. I'm wrecked today. I'm sick. Like, I'm post-race sick. I mean, it's a cold type of thing where I know I'll probably be better in the next day or two. But as soon as I finished, my whole body was like, thank you for being done. Now we're going to get our revenge. And we ended up walking another 3 miles. 3 or 4 miles.
Yeah, we walked along.
Because we met up with Alex, who was on the show earlier, and we met up for pizza and beer with the Black Roses, who are a local run crew in New York, and Russell Nadel, who works with Stance Socks. We met up with some good friends, got some beer, got some grub, and then we walked to our hotels. To a running store. Yeah, we walked to a running store. And then we walked to our hotels blocks away. I mean, it's a clusterfuck at this point because there's so many people. I'm sorry for swearing. I realize there's kids watching now. I should got to be more wary of that. But we were walking blocks and blocks because a lot of the city is just shut down. We didn't want to mess with the taxi because traffic was terrible.
We were walking faster than the taxis were going.
We were. So I'm thinking, oh, this is good recovery. But my legs were just like, no, it's not. You're done. So that's pretty much my marathon story. I'm still hurting today. I'm going to be hurting for days. It's good to get a marathon in my system that, again, it's been a long time since I've done a road marathon that really just destroyed me because I've been using a lot of the most recent ones as training for ultras because road marathons just tend to fall really close to ultras for me on the calendar. So ultras tend to be the races I've like got to put that extra effort in. So the road marathons are like perfect training. They're long, they're hard. They're going to take your body's going to take a bit of a beating depending on how you push. So I have a month before my next race. And I was like, this is probably a good opportunity to kind of push it a little bit and see what I can do. Take that month and just kind of rest for a week or two and then kind of get that mileage back up for another week and then taper for the race. I got my ass handed to me. So I think basically anyone that's asked about the New York Marathon, I've said what was my terminology? It was deceiving. It was deceiving.
Yeah.
It's tough. The wind, the cold, the hills. I have 1,400 feet of elevation change, I believe, on my
Somebody
thing.
just said Alex's was showing 1,700.
I think mine's a little off because over the Queensboro Bridge, my watch was nuts. It was freaking out. It was mileage was off. It was saying I was running like 13-minute miles. It was like everything was off. So I would imagine it was somewhere between 15 to 2,000 feet of elevation change over the course of the race. That's close to the Big Sur.
Yeah, and I was thinking
like 25 or
in my mind, I've never thought of the New York Marathon as being a hilly marathon.
You wouldn't think that.
I would never have thought that.
It was. It is.
Not making excuses or anything, but I feel like a lot of people had a tough day.
Everyone
like
was saying that,
and stuff like that were running, slower splits in the beginning than what would be typical for this race. So that's not an excuse.
I know. I mean, a lot of people are like, dude, why are you frustrated or why are you mad at that time? That's a great time. And I agree. It's a good time. I think I placed 8,000 out of 50,000 or something like that.
That's damn good.
I'm happy with that. I'm happy. With the experience, I'm totally legitimately happy. Personally, it just would have been nice to come off a marathon where I barely pushed, got 2 seconds to my PR, and for a marathon I really pushed hard, and then to lose it by 2 minutes, it was just kind of frustrating.
You didn't have the exact day you wanted, but
but there'll be plenty more marathons. I'm over it. I'm totally over it. I'm just relaying the frustration. Samuel Smith asked, Ginger, no beer? No way, man. I mean, I think I'm rocking a fever right now.
We're like hydrating so we don't both.
I'm hiding the sickness. I feel like shit right now. I really just want to be laying down. So I don't know if there's gonna be much of a post show, but I will answer as many questions as possible in the post show before I just need to go lay down. Yeah, on TV, Matt B in YYC says on TV on ESPN, all they talked about was wind and how much the first mile sucked and how the race times would be slow as all get out. It's true. The race times across the board were slow. I mean, look at Kara Goucher. She had a really tough day out there. She put out that she wanted to get somewhere around 225 or 230. She ran a 237. For an elite to have a gap or to miss the mark by that much, there's some other element at play here.
That's a big deal.
I mean, it's not her. I mean, she's talking about she crashed and burned, right? She got to the point where she was pushing too hard and all that kind of stuff. But there's these other elements that came into play for everybody, and that's the wind, that's the cold. You know, you just don't know. I don't want to blame the hills because it's like the hills, whatever. But
Ro has asked a number of times what it was like to meet Kara.
Go for it.
It was literally a dream come true.
The whole week leading up to it, Kim's like, I can't wait to meet Kara. I can't wait to meet Kara.
I just wanted to see her on the course, and just seeing her run by on the course, like being that close to somebody that's that good at what they do. Like, I had goosebumps when she was running by and when the elites were running by, and then all day I was just hoping that we would get to meet her, and it was a dream come true. She's an inspiration for,
She had, I mean, if you watch her, you should watch her interview online post race. It's super emotional. It's so hard to watch.
Yeah.
Because I mean, she's coming back, right, from a long time off, and she really wanted to do well. So it's really heartbreaking to watch it. But she was such a good sport about it when you met her, and you could see other people talking to her about it, and she was a really good sport at that event. Yeah. And Meb did great. Meb placed fourth, which is incredible. He was all in good spirits too. I just had a question in there. Someone said that the 1,400 feet is close to the LA Marathon. I don't remember LA Marathon having that much elevation. I know that there are some good hills towards the start of the race at LA, and there are some good long, slow grinds. I think New York is probably closer to 2,000, just because the climbs are bigger, and you do lose a lot of your watch, I think, on two of them. So it's tough to gauge.
Dan was asking, is it possible your long race season caught up with you?
I.e., were you due for below epic event? I'm tired just thinking of the miles you put in the season. I'll be honest, maybe. I try to be pretty diligent about certain races making my A or B races, and then other races being more training scenarios. San Francisco was a perfect example of it is a training run for Squamish, because Squamish was my A race and it was weeks away, and I didn't want to blow it. So, like I said, running Oregon 2 weeks ago and then running this, don't know. Maybe just this small window caught up to me. And, maybe even Squamish 50-50 caught up to me. You see all these professional and elite athletes who are doing these long seasons of huge races and suffering some tough days out there now. Could be. I don't know. I'll be taking a break. North Face 50 miler will be my last race of the year. I don't think I have another race for another couple months after that, like months. So I'm going to take all of December off.
Yeah.
I'm going to eat cookies.
I think like exactly 2 months, maybe exactly 8 weeks.
Yeah.
You have off.
And then it's a 50K back in 2015. And it's another race. It's like, it might be not my A race for next year, but it's definitely what I'm passionate about. I'm really excited. The Orcas Island 50K. So again, I don't think I'm going to go to a road marathon with the idea of really pushing it until I diligently pick one that will be like a Boston qualifier or something like that, where I can really train for the speed and do that. Because I'm just now beginning to reincorporate speed into my workouts.
Yeah, you really haven't done a ton of speed work.
No, it's all been about building the base mileage so I can do these longer events. So now my goal is to start working on the speed, which I'm very excited about. Very, very excited. Ethan, any tips to keep in mind for running a really crowded big marathon? I've only done trail races and smallish marathons. Yeah, and this is my first one of this scale. It was daunting at first when you're around that many people, but it got pretty easy. I think I mentioned this to you. I needed to go pee the whole time. I needed to pee the entire race. It wasn't terrible, but it was to the point where I was like, show me an outhouse. I didn't see any outhouses the entire race. None. 1 mile, I think mile 10, I think there was a group of outhouses, like 4 on the side. But at that point, I was like, well, I don't need to go now. And of course, 50 feet later, oh, I should have stopped.
They did have them when you guys came off the bridge onto First, but they're against the wall, the opposite side of the street I was on, kind of against the overpass, where I feel like people would probably just run right by them.
Yeah.
I don't think you'd like turn and crank your head.
No, there's so many people too that are really distracting. So unless you're keeping your eye out for the blue porta potties, it could be damaging. I'm gonna actually keep these questions coming, guys. We're gonna move into the post show just so I can start riffing on questions and answering questions before we hightail out of here. Before we go, I have to thank Alex Varner for jumping on the show with us tonight, telling us a bit about the sub-elite category. Unbelievable performance by that guy.
It's so neat to hear about that kind of stuff that we don't get to experience.
To pick his brain after the race and kind of see what's going on. In my mind, I'm like, dude, I would think that you would just stare at like Kara and Meb and just gawk, right?
That's what I would be doing.
Yeah, like, oh, it's so cool. Oh,
what are they doing? What are they wearing?
Oh, they're doing strides. That's cool. Maybe we should go do strides with Kara. Let's go see. Hey, Kara, what's up? Are you feeling good today? How do you feel? Hey, I've got a website. You should come check out my website. So thank you, Alex, for coming on the show. Again, all of you who donated to the Team UNICEF with Shay Carl, Ron Erickson, Derek, Carly, thank you for getting us there. We all reached our goals. And in fact, Shay Carl promised to double all donations. So we raised, I have to do math now. $17,500 was raised by the five of us. Shay matched it. So we donated another $17,500. And Paul Allen doubled that. So he donated another, I'm not gonna do the math. He doubled it, which is pretty incredible. So thank you all for helping us reach our goals and to help the kids. Pretty awesome. Pretty awesome. Mm-hmm. I have to thank New York. Thank you, New York, for having a race. That was really epic.
You didn't get peed on, so it was a good day.
No, I didn't get peed on. We'll talk about that in the post show. The legend of the Villanova Bridge. Veronazzo Bridge? What's the fuck? Villanova Veronazzo. That bridge, the first bridge. Mm-hmm. So thank you to New York and all the spectators that were out there. Fans who watch this show, who watch all my videos, who were out there supporting. Someone tweeted a photo of some of their they made signs that said "Go Ginger Runner, Train Race Beer," like all that stuff. I'm like, oh my God, that's incredible. That's incredible. So thank you guys for going out there and watching and supporting all the runners. And I hope you guys are getting out there. Oh, of course. Thank you, Kim, for coming with me to New York.
Thanks for ringing me.
Yeah, for traveling the distance. We are on 14 hours of travel today, so we're a little delirious. Tired. We're pretty exhausted. It's technically 10:30. Not that we adapted. Yeah, no real dinner. So that's awesome. Where can people find you, babe?
Facebook.com/milelonglegs. Twitter is milelong_legs, and Instagram at KimberlyDT, KimberleyDT, and my website, milelonglegs.com.
Awesome. Go follow her. Do it. And that's it, guys. You know where to find me on all the social networks. At The Ginger Runner. Facebook is The Ginger Runner. Instagram is at Ethan Newberry. GingerRunner.com, which apparently is not working right now. So I'll be dealing with that this week after the buffs get sent out. I really need to get the buffs out for you guys. So look forward to those. If they ship out this week, depending on where you are in the world, hopefully they arrive quick.
I'm going to put a high five in each one I package.
It's true. I'm going to make him touch them and put them in the envelopes with high fives and kisses and all that. Whoa. Let's hold that one. We'll hold the high fives, just the kisses. So yeah, there might be some buffs left over. Maybe a handful of them, which I will sell. So for those of you who are like, oh man, I missed it, I want a buff, I'm like, there might be some left over for you. So that could be awesome. We're gonna move into the post show. Stick around for the post show. It's gonna be short, but ask the questions that you might have, and we will answer them accordingly in order. So keep your eye on the chat room. That is it for today's show. You guys are great. Next week, same time, Monday, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I hope you guys come and join us. We'll see you then. I just keep talking because I got to click over here. You guys are great. Okay, bye. Such a zombie. Oh, Shay Carl. Shay Carl is in the chat room now. Oh. I hope you heard the thank you, man. That's awesome. So Shay Carl, if you want to jump on, Shay, I know that you just got back. He said, just got back to the hotel room to tune in. Great seeing you guys this weekend. Shay, if you want to jump on, just let me know. Drop me a text or an email, and I'll send you the link to get you in here if you wanted to say any words. Because while I was running, Shay, Ron, Carly, and Derek were also running. and experiencing the exact same things that I was experiencing. They seem to have a much better experience. Based off of some texts I was reading at the end, they're like, "We had fun. We all hung out. We ran out together. And it was fun." I was like, "I wish I would have done that." Based off of how I feel right now and how I feel today, I'm like, "Oh, I wish I just would have had fun."
Ethan, favorite sick day drink?
Water.
That's what I'm.
Water. I will be taking a lot of orange juice. Basically, any fluid I can get into my body at this point, other than
keep you hydrated.
beer, because I had a lot of beer yesterday that could also have contributed to me just like being under the weather today. Yeah. Adam Gears asked maybe some ginger shades. I will tell you that I have some ideas for some new things, and I'm really excited about them. I'm not going to tell you what they are. I'm just going to tell you that they are going to be rad. And I already kind of showed Kim, and she was like, "That's cool." I'm like, I know, it's cool. I'm really excited.
It's panties.
It's panties for you guys. I hope you guys all run in panties. Gross. Terribly gross. Yeah, Ethan, favorite sick day drink. It's got to be some sort of liquid. So I'm drinking water now. I should continue to drink.
We're both hydrating because I don't want what you got.
No, I don't think it's contagious. I think it's my body going, stop.
Slow down.
Stop.
Ginger ale.
Good one. Did I have any today? I don't think so.
No.
Ethan, did daylight savings time ending work in your favor for the race? I won't say it benefited the race, but it benefited sleep.
Yeah, because we got an extra hour.
Because we're already running on Pacific time because we didn't have enough time to really acclimate.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I'd recommend, flying the week before so you can acclimate to the East Coast time. Maybe, but it's so expensive to take a week off. So I just don't think we didn't acclimate to the East Coast time. And then you add in daylight savings, which is good because then you add an hour.
We were still like 2 hours behind.
Yeah, I didn't get much sleep. So, who knows? Maybe sleep had something to do with it. Tony said he posted a picture of Shay with his weight loss. He's got a good story. 12-1 Studio says, I started running because I stopped drinking. Maybe anything not drinking related? I'm confused. Will you be traveling back to Van next year? Jamie asks that. Are you talking about Kim or me? I think the answer is yes to both of us.
Yep.
Yeah. I will be going back as often as possible. There's a number of races up there that are happening next year that are going to be pretty incredible, like epic, huge, terribly tough mountain, like sky running style mountain races up there. And I'm really, really excited to kind of see what that's all about. Nick Harborn, what was Shay's time? I don't know. I think they finished after 4 hours, which is awesome because they were all running together and they were really nervous about not training enough. And they've been doing some last minute training for the last couple of weeks and really dialing it in. They did pretty damn rad. They did really, really well. Rick Thomas, when are you showing the video for Kim's Ultra? When it's edited.
When it's done.
Yeah, when it's done. Trust me, I'd love to crank these videos out in 3 days. But the truth is this one for Kim is going to be bigger. It's going to be kind of the Squamish 50/50 style where it's a film. I want it to be a real film. The New York Marathon race video will be probably a little bit quicker, easier to edit, but that I'm going to post that after Kim's film. Unless it's just workload wise, it's just easier to crank that out before I drop Kim's. But patience, my friends, patience. Ethan, will you be running 100 in 2015? Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, I believe so. That's the goal.
Thing to believe so in.
Yeah, that's the goal. My goal is to do one in 2015. We'll really have to see how the next few months pan out. I mean, you don't know, right? You don't know what's going to happen. But my ultimate goal is absolutely to run a 100-miler in 2015. I've been wanting to do it, but I wanted to wait till the right time, and I think I'm getting there. The Squamish 50/50 was a huge confidence booster. Getting through such a tough first day and being able to rally for the second day. That's what's weird is I ran 50 miles and then ran 31 the next day. And here I am running 26 and I can't walk. Roads. I'm telling you,
is a lot different.
Stupid roads.
Ethan, any vertical Ks in your 2015?
Oh, I would love to do vertical K. I love that nasty technical straight vert. Get that heart rate just cranking. I know that there are a number of vertical Ks listed this year. Jameel Curry has a bunch that he's doing with Aravipa. I believe Gary wants to do one at some point. Gary Robbins up in Van.
He talked about it.
He talked about it. Yeah, it'd be on the list. I know the Rut does one as well out in Montana. It's really going to kind of come down to what can I afford to as far as travel and all that stuff. So we'll see.
Transmaster 9000 asks, what's a harder course, Big Sur, San Fran, or New York? I've run 2 of those.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, it's tough because my New York experience was tougher than both of them this year, but I don't know why. So I would say Big Sur.
For me, it's Big Sur for sure.
Yeah, it's tougher because
It's
you're also dealing with
beautiful.
wind.
You're dealing with wind, and you're dealing with a little bit of isolation because you don't have you don't have the fans and stuff like that. So for me, that makes it a little bit harder. I obviously haven't run New York yet, but
Big Sur is the hilliest of those that you listed. Up and down, vertical and descent. It's all roads. The roads all cant. Yeah. They're all fairly canted as well, which is dangerous and tough. Yeah, it's definitely a tough road marathon, but it's so gorgeous. You get so distracted by the beauty, that kind of thing. And the energy of LA and the energy of New York for sure can help push you through those. So it's tough. Do Flagstaff or Lone Peak at the Rut? True. Zach, those are some good ones. Ethan, you would love Javelina. It's the epitome of train race beer. Oh, trust me. While I was in New York, I'm looking at all the updates from Aravaipa and from Jamil and from all those running at Javelina 100 this last weekend. And that is an epic race. For sure, it's on a bucket list. I'll do it eventually. I just want to go next year and just kind of rage. Just kind of pop a tent and hang out in the central hub, or volunteer, like have a train race beer aid station or something out there, and help the course out because it sounds and looks incredible.
My friend Bryce is in there. Hi guys, would any of you like to do the Kneenacker in Vancouver? That's on your list.
Oh, it's on my list.
I don't think I'm putting that one on my list anytime soon.
Yes, Kneenacker, yes. But that is also a lottery, and it's tough to get into. Oh, but yes. But also Gary posted recently through the Coastal Mountain Series that he has the Buck and Hell 50K, which he said is possibly tougher than Kneenacker.
Yeah, he said it will be.
That's what I want to do.
Yeah, I can't remember what he said the time.
He said, he said there will not be a 5.5 hour finisher. He said, it doesn't matter how elite you are, you will not finish in 5.5 hours. Maybe look at a 6.5 hour finish for an elite.
It's a 50K with a course that's going to be open probably for 13 hours.
13-hour cutoff time, it's like the Rut. I mean, it sounds terrible and awesome. I mean, if I know anything about the trails that he has looped together, they're hard. They're really hard. Ethan, check out the Georgia Death Race, which is also in the Skywriting Series, which is fun. It's my next big one. It's supposed to be toughest race east of the Mississippi River. Yeah, I actually just read about that today. I hadn't heard of it until today, based off of the Skywriting Race Series. I'll have to look into that. Again, travel is just a big factor. New York was so expensive, so it's tough.
Yeah.
Fat Dog. Again, Fat Dog. It's another one of those lists or another one of those races.
I think that one's close to Squamish in time frame.
Yeah. That's also 120 miler, but they call it the Fat Dog 100. All right, guys, maybe like 1 or 2 more questions, and then it's off to bed.
Do you tell everybody what shoes you wore?
Oh, yeah, gear. Sorry, I talked about nutrition. I ended up going with the Cliftons, the Hoka 1-1 Cliftons. I had the Ultra 1 squared on the ready. They're a great shoe. I read Big Sur in them and loved them. I just felt coming off of trails that I didn't do much road training leading up to this, some in the last couple of weeks. So I wanted to just get a little bit more cushioning underneath my feet. So the Hoka Cliftons, which I ran San Francisco in and got really close to the PR. So I was like, these are going to do it. These are going to be the ones. I'm not disappointed with my choice. Either one of those shoes would have done exactly what I needed them to do. So yeah, I went with the Cliftons. Pearl Izumi Ultra 3/4 length tights, a custom Train Race Beer t-shirt, North Face arm sleeves, Smart Wool beanie, Train Race Beer buff, Smith glasses, Engine G socks, UD Hydrates handheld, Tailwind Goo pocket fuel,
and your own awesomeness.
And my own awesomeness. Boxers or briefs? Neither.
Who me?
Anti-chafe. Oh boxers. Yeah, anti-chafe. That's basically my brief. Is a giant layer of anti-chafe. Sounds disgusting. Sounds terrible. How about the Rocky Raccoon 100 or Rocky 50 down in Texas? Yeah, they're all on the list, guys. Tons of amazing races out there. I just have to make sure that I don't bite off more than I can chew in a year.
Do you normally race in your training shoes or lighter racing shoes?
Depends. Really depends, because I'm rotating through so many shoes for reviews. So it's always different. If I am not rotating through as many shoes, I'll train in heavier shoes and then race in lighter shoes. But you have to be aware that if your feet are like, this is what I've noticed. If your feet are used to a more cushioned shoe or a more minimal shoe, if you switch that up come race day or the longer distance days, your feet are going to be sore because your muscles are working different. So I noticed, my feet, the bottoms of my feet were getting sore because I haven't been running in Hoka's this last week or two. So my feet just weren't used to it. It wasn't the Hoka's fault. It was definitely the training's fault. If you're running in the same pair of shoes for an entire training cycle, your feet are used to those shoes. I don't do that because I don't have that benefit.
I like to usually train in a couple, like maybe 2 different shoes, and I'll be racing in one of those 2 shoes.
Yeah, that's also a good call. Neenacker, first finisher was 4 hours and 40 minutes. Hopefully I'll see you guys there in 2015. And Kim, you have to do it. Great show tonight, guys. Thanks, Bryce. Appreciate it.
Trainer sleepy time?
Yeah, trainer sleepy time. They said the t-shirts or the shirts look good. I have a love-hate relationship with most race shirts. Every ultra shirt that I've gotten has been great because they pick really good brands like Patagonia or Arc'teryx.
I'm not making 50,000 of them.
Yeah, exactly. They're not making 50,000 of them. You end up getting a really good quality shirt with like cool brands and logos, and I just love the trail running shirts. Every major city or marathon, the shirts suck. They suck because they're making 50,000 of them, so they have to find the cheapest ones, cut the corners. The only time that was not the case was San Francisco 2011. I think it was San Francisco 2011 or 2010. And the shirts that year were awesome.
You know my problem with that shirt.
Yeah. Okay. So if you guys look at this, the first thing, there's my nipples. The first thing we thought when we looked at this pattern, Kim goes, Ethan, what do you see? And I go, tread marks. She goes, yeah, it looks like a car drove over your shirt. I cannot unsee a car driving over my shirt. If you look at it the right way, those are buildings with shadows and highlights, but the shadows and highlights are wrong. As a graphic designer and a 3D modeler, the shadows are wrong. You can't have shadows facing 2 different directions because that means you have 2 suns, and that's not possible unless you're on Tatooine. The logo is obviously fine. Yeah, I mean, it's better than some race shirts that I've gotten in the past. It's ASICS.
Your post-race poncho was pretty great.
I will say that the poncho was pretty cool. It's big, fleece line. New York City Marathon poncho. It's pretty dope. I like that one. It kept me warm because I was freezing by the time we crossed the finish line. Are you going to review On Running shoes? They haven't contacted me. I'm obviously open to anything. I know that they have a lot of people out there running in their shoes now. They're kind of like Newton in the sense that it was a marketing, not necessarily marketing, but it was a design element to help sell their shoes. So people started buying into the Newton idea, and now they're a much bigger brand. On is very much a design element of a shoe that they're trying to sell to people to convince them this works. So if I reviewed one of those shoes, it would be, does it work? It's the same as Newton. Now that I've run in Newtons for a long time, it's like, well, yeah, in some cases it works. In some cases it doesn't. When I have to cut a shoe in half and prove that it's designed terribly. But with the On shoes, I haven't run them, so I can't say one way or the other. Looks like you're not loving your official shirt. Oh, fickle. Oh, he actually spelled you spelled the incorrect spelling of a fickle wrong. So you double misspelled it.
Double wrong.
So they gave out all the race magazines, or like the official guides, book, right? Yeah. The marathon guides. Big, thick marathon guides. 50,000 of them exist.
Like the thickest, biggest marathon guide I've ever seen.
Yeah.
For a race.
But as a graphic designer, I'm looking at it going, there's a seam on the front of this. And you kind of feel the front of it. And sure enough, there's a seam at the bottom. And you're like, this is a sticker. They applied a sticker to the front of this. So you start peeling off the sticker and you go, oh, someone made the mistake of not including an I in the word official. So they printed 50,000 of these books with a misspelled word at the bottom, big yellow letters. And you're like, ooh, someone lost a job. So they had to reprint stickers. And I don't know how they applied the stickers, whether that was.
I'm just imagining the sad guy who like approved.
This is your fault. You have to
like
put
sitting in
50,000
like a dark
stickers.
room doing this.
Yeah. Ethan, how about reviewing races the way you review gear? I feel like my race videos are kind of a way of, I feel like they're better than a review. And these recaps that I'm doing now are a great way for me to just get out my thoughts on the marathon. And the race films are a great way to kind of show you the marathon. So I feel like I'm doing more than doing a shoe review, because I'm telling you the good things, I'm telling you the bad things. I feel like it's almost better. I just talked for an hour and 40 minutes about the New York Marathon. That's better than
I agree. I would rather listen to like a podcast about it.
Yeah.
Sure.
Kim, are you going to start making any videos, i.e. reviewing the AK Jenny Fest? Have a few friends who would love to see that.
It's in the works.
Yeah, once we get you down here. Once we get Kim down, the plan is to start a female channel.
Yep.
My long legs channel. So we can actually start reviewing gear for both sexes, because I'm not going to be reviewing the female gear. Wouldn't make sense. But for most shoes, it kind of translates across the board. Like the shoes are built essentially the same. However, it's not always the case. And you'd much rather hear from someone who's running in those shoes than me, who would like have to predict if the female version is the same as the male version.
Right. And more they're coming out with more female specific things as well.
Yeah, like the Jenny vest.
Yeah, the whole Jenny collection, that kind of stuff. So yeah, absolutely. It's
going to happen. So we'll obviously keep you guys we'll keep you guys abreast of when that happens. So sorry. Can't believe that worked out perfectly. All right. You guys are awesome. I appreciate you guys tuning in. I'm going to get some rest, get more fluids in me, maybe eat dinner before we go to bed.
Yeah.
And can't thank you for tuning in. Can't thank Alex for tuning in as well. And can't thank you for joining me in New York. And can't thank Shay and the crew for allowing me to join the team.
What a great opportunity.
Do me a favor, guys, and just tweet at Shay Carl. It's SHAYCARL, and just say thanks from the Ginger Runner or something. I don't know. He's a super sweet dude. I can't thank him enough for letting me do that.
Opportunity of a lifetime.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. You guys are great. Take care.
Cool.
All right, I'll see you guys next week. Bye.
Bye.